Hi, and welcome to Missouri Athletic Club Connections, a podcast highlighting Missouri's only premier athletic club. The MAC is recognized as the foremost private club in St. Louis, known for attracting exceptional people and enriching lives for generations. I'm MAC Membership Director Rodney Stoyer, and today we're talking with the club's new Director of Security, Eric Jones. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast. I know all of our members are looking forward to getting to know you and hearing a little bit more about what you've got planned for the club, right?
Absolutely. Glad to be here.
Good. Well, let's get started. Let's find out a little bit more about you. Those of us who've already gotten to know you pretty well know family's a pretty important part of your life. Give us a little background.
Well, family is very important to me. I am married. My wife, his name is Talia. I have 5 children, ranging from, I have 3 boys, 2 girls. My oldest name is Trayvon, daughter Lauren, son Eric. Then I have another daughter named Tasia, and then my youngest son is Evan, and I have 6 grandkids with 1 on the way.
Fantastic. Yeah. Obviously, well, yeah, family, a big part of your life, but it also has to be. That's a great growing family.
It's a big family.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. I always think about 2 kids and think, wow, 5. So I get it. I get that for sure. Well, hey, let's talk a little bit about your background. Obviously, law enforcement, other security things. Let's go in a little bit about what you've done in your history.
Well, I started in law enforcement back in 2001.
Yeah.
I was a deputy sheriff, started at Marion County Sheriff's Department, loved it. Once I became a deputy, it was I didn't know what to expect. Yeah. I didn't know, the sheriff kind of took a liking to me and was like, Eric, hey, I think you would be a great deputy. And, first I kind of looked at him like, I don't know about being a police officer. But, it blossomed into a wonderful career. Yeah. I was just a slick sleeve for about 8 years, got promoted to corporal, got placed at our courthouse. We're kind of a different, we actually have 2 seed courthouses. Most counties only have 1. Yeah. So we had 2 courthouses, which was kind of different. And a lot of court going on So we covered about 500 square miles. And so when I got placed at the courthouse as corporal, came with some duties. I still was over some road guys and any court detail, any inmates that came to court, court security. When I very first started, we were kind of lax on people just coming and going from the court. So we knew then, we got to do something different. Times are changing. Yeah. So that position allowed me to implement some court security. And then, the sheriff kind of was like, you're kind of good at this. So I'm going to go ahead and let you run with it. So we introduced our front door security. So we had metal detectors, and that was kind of a change, kind of a culture shock. But, we made our way through it. Got promoted to sergeant. From there, my duties kind of grew again. Then I was over the protection of the judges, court personnel, lawyers coming and going, still doing all of our inmate intake, coming to court, trials, and then, of course, over the guys that were in our down in our courthouse, our process service. We did a lot of process serving out of the courts, from anything from garnishments, subpoenas, warrants, anything like that. So I was over that. Security, along with just being a deputy sheriff, right, was a lot. But, I loved it. I loved every second of it. And I did that till 2023. Yeah. I retired. Then I moved. Yeah. But getting back to just being a deputy sheriff, I don't know. It's a job it was so fulfilling. Yeah. Being able to help people in some of their lowest times, helping them improve, building that communication, and you get to know. For as long as I did it, unfortunately, I saw mom, dad, then I saw their kids, then I saw their grandkids come through the system. But it's almost like it's funny, but I became a household name. Everybody knew Sergeant Jones. Yeah. And, I took pride in that because, I would rather them have a familiar face, even in some of their lowest times, going through any trial. And, I took it as an honor to be able to be there for them, even in the times they didn't want to see me. Right. But, it was still a pleasure. I love helping people. Which
is awesome. We're seeing that already, obviously. But then some corporate/campus style work
Yes.
as well,
So-
which really translates to us also, right?
Yeah, so in the midst of being a deputy, I did some consulting for some companies, kind of in the realm of nursing homes, but it was like on the mental health side. So I was able to integrate myself in the inner workings of security infrastructure for them, building programs, helping them improve their security blanket, identifying soft spots in their security. Also doing some freelancing on just some security surveillance, investigation. So I started a company of my own early on in my security career, doing investigations and surveillance and security implementation. So that was worked out pretty well for me. And in that, I was able to obtain a lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge. And so I just began to fall in love with security even more. So yeah, my background in security is taking me down a lot of paths, all stemming from just becoming a police officer.
Right. Yeah. Well, and I think the nice thing is, again, short time here really that you've been with us, but I personally have even noticed it where you most definitely know how to watch a room. I mean, good eyes and good, for me to come up and stand next to you and realize what you've noticed. And I'm just like, it's a reception. What are you looking at? What's the big deal? And all of the things you notice. Very, very, very key and very important. Now, I think I want to go back real quick to the compassionate side. That was in there. You were kind of saying that. And that's the piece I think that works the best for us. I mean, it's not just a law enforcement background. It's understanding that, you're here to protect and serve and take care of our members too.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So, the compassionate side for me helps me build a rapport with the people and let them know they can trust me.
Yeah.
Even if they've done something wrong.
Yeah.
Having that rapport, the ability to first approach them and them to feel comfortable enough to tell me what the issue is or even tell me something that they shouldn't have done. I believe, treating people fair, firm, and consistent, and also not judging them.
Yeah.
Just, let me help you get through this. Let me help you understand even what you did wrong or what you shouldn't have done. Sure. But first and foremost, they got to trust me.
Yeah.
And so being approachable has been big in my career. One of the things that I used to tell people, before I even show up to a situation, I have to begin to assess the situation, if I have prior knowledge of it on my way there, because every situation is different. It may be similar, but it's different. When I would pull up to a situation, even in my patrol car, and get out, of course, they see my patrol car, they see my uniform, but it's all about how I interact with them. Yeah. If I pull up and they get a sense of, oh, he's a hothead, or he's getting ready to just disregard everything I say, even if I am going to have the last word, right, I still want to respect them and give them time, because everybody wants to be seen and heard. Yeah. And so, times here that I've been able to interact and functions here at the MAC, learning the people, learning our members, learning our staff, just observing has taught me a lot, because, if you're just, my grandfather used to tell me, close your mouth and open both ears. So, I just applied it to my eyes. Yeah. I assess the crowd, I look around, I see what everybody's going on, and it tells you a lot. Yeah. It tells you, you can identify people, their character, and even some of their character flaws. And that's something I've been able to enhance within myself over the years of being in law enforcement and security.
Yeah. Well, speaking of those eyes, ears, everything else, your awareness, let's call it that. Let's talk about the MAC. I think most people know, what you were brought in for. A big part of it was, hey, Eric, come in here and work and tell us what we don't know. Tell us what we don't realize. Tell us what we don't see. So, give us an idea, just over a month, what are you seeing? Where do you see things going for the Missouri Athletic Club?
Well, the opportunity that I was given here was the ability to continue working in security while striving to share my expertise with the MAC, learn from the MAC. The improvements that I see here thus far is just knowing who's in our building, knowing our clientele. Right. There's a lot of working parts, especially in our downtown club. Yep. having that security presence, letting our staff know that we're available, letting our staff know that we're here, that we're watching. One of the, and it's just a small thing. So things that maybe everyone doesn't see, but like when I'm at the MAC and I'm doing my rounds and I'm walking around, I've come across different, housekeepers, and they're like, I just feel secure knowing that somebody's walking the hall and seeing that extra piece that says I care, and that just speaks volume to it. So it's creating that security culture that the MAC, that I feel like just needed to be enhanced, and that I'm seeing ways to enhance it. So that for me has been big in the way of just creating that or I guess closing that gap between security and our staff and our members, and then carrying it over to even the outside that's coming in, giving that sense of, okay, we do have security if something's going on. Someone is watching over us, so it's like you be safe at home, like you're safe at the MAC. So that's been what I've been.
Again, in a short time, it's something I've seen too. And I like your comment about, like, let's say a housekeeper who's up on a hotel room floor and there's no one else around.
Yes.
Your approach is not, hey, what are you doing? I've heard you say it. Your approach is, you good?
Yeah.
Everything good? You're all good? Anything I can help you with? That makes a big difference, right? You're there for all of us. It's not a what would you want to say? Police state. It's not a
No.
We're here to find out where we can continue to help people and what we can do to make everybody feel secure.
Yeah. This role helps me create a safer, more secure culture. I'm not here to police, if you will, if need be in certain situations.
Of course.
But if nothing more, I want our clientele, our members, our staff to know that, hey, the MAC takes our safety seriously.
Yeah. And
we identify that we need to improve in certain areas, and that's what we're striving to be. Striving to improve and enhance in every area. So that goes a long way when it comes to implementation. So when we begin to implement security measures, to enhance security measures, if you creating that security cultures makes everyone want to buy in. It allows everyone to see, okay, they are serious about it. It's not just a do as I say, it's come do it with me mentality. So
I like that a lot. So you've hit on a lot of these things, but one question I got to get across is any goals for the first year? You've kind of touched on several of those already, but any other specific things that stand out that you kind of want to see happen in the first year here?
So I took some notes on that one.
Oh, good. Well, I want to hear them. That's great.
So, I believe having my experience, knowledge, and presence focused on enhancing security measures at the club, my background allows me to bring an immediate support, forward-thinking strategies, strengthen the club security foundation. I believe my voice offers a sharp eye for identifying and addressing security risk, both within the club and the surrounding environment. This includes staying informed about external things that are going on that could impact day-to-day operations. One of the biggest things in the first, I'll say, 6 months to a year, I would like to just improve the overall security infrastructure. And what that looks like is cameras, awareness, see something, say something, reporting, having the ability to know. One of my biggest things is knowing who's in our building. That concerns me a lot. I know I've circled back to that a couple times, but not just downtown, but even out west, letting our members know that you're safe here, but there is a protocol that everyone needs to follow, getting everyone on the same page. I also want to elevate the visibility and effectiveness of our security team. We need to be up, moving.
I've noticed that one already.
We got to be up, moving around, because it's not what we know that hurts, it's what we don't know. So if we're not up, moving around, we're not interacting with our staff and our members, we'll miss a lot of things. So it's taking that proactive approach instead of that reactive approach to a lot of different situations, and identifying our weaknesses and not being afraid to say, this is our weakness. How do we improve upon it? What do we need to do? And making it a collective approach because you could tell me something that's going on and we could sit down and discuss it, and me be like, okay, well, you're security, you tell me what to do, but I'm saying, well, Rodney, you work here.
Right.
What do you see?
Right.
What is going on? And me being able to take that and implement it into a plan that's proactive and effective.
Well, and I think, we could go back and talk all day long about everybody's comments and things when you were in the interview process and selection process. But one of the things I think that's really come to fruition is you fit in with the club mentality. There's no question. And, case in point is the shuttles and everything kind of fall under your domain. Like it's a shuttle. We're shuttling to events. But we got the shuttle schedule on the app now. I know you worked with Elizabeth to get that done. So there's things that, don't necessarily have to be hardcore security, like new cameras or checkpoints or anything like that. It's just making life better for our members, right?
Absolutely.
And so you've got that from day one, I think.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Being able to fit in seamlessly,
yeah,
and just jump down and say, hey, this is what we have to do. Let's just get it done. Being able to think outside the box, because as you said, security doesn't just checkpoints and I need to know who you are. I mean, it goes beyond that. It goes into things like shuttle, making sure that our shuttle drivers are equipped with items to make sure in case of emergency.
Right.
That they're prepared, making sure that our members, when they get on the shuttle, that they're accounted for, that they're safe. It's just the same as you were taught when you were taking your driver's test.
Yeah.
Fix your mirror, put your seatbelt on.
Yeah.
It's things like that. You haven't even started driving yet.
Right.
And that's where your mind is at, but it's the preparation before.
Basics.
Yes.
Yeah, basics. I love that. I want to kind of know this, family, all the other things you've said, but, anything else about principles that guide how you do your job? I mean, anything like that? You've clearly had a wonderful career and development and law enforcement and everything else, but what are some of those principles that kind of guide you on a daily basis?
Fair, firm, and consistent.
I love that, yeah.
And a lot of people use this term loosely, and they'll say,
Sure.
I just want to, my ways to be pleasing before God, and I want to make sure that I'm doing the right thing.
Yeah.
But I try to stick very, very close to those values. Meeting you, so I'll use you for an example.
Sure.
When I first met you, I didn't see that you were trying to hide anything from me. You were all in, and I try my best to return that same type of energy to whomever I'm talking to. You left an impression on me that said, hey, whether or not you're hired or not, I just want to let you know I appreciate your time. I appreciate being able to sit down and talk to you. Yeah. And that right there is how I try to operate. I try to live my life. I try to give everybody my undivided attention. Yeah. When I sit down and I talk to you, I want to hear about you. I want to hear what's going on with you. Yeah. And you ask, what does that have to do with security? It has a lot to do with security, because in that moment, we're building a friendship. Yep. I'm getting to know you. You're getting to know me. And so therefore, when I begin to put a plan together, I know who I can count on, if you give them this task, maybe they won't be able to carry it out. But if I give Rodney this task, Rodney knows that he knows my heart. He knows what I'm doing. He knows what I'm going after. And I can partner up with him. So treating everybody fair, firm, and consistent. Firm more so being for myself, being firm in my beliefs, being firm in what I'm doing, my understanding, making sure that.
And let's not forget that at the end of the day, your primary responsibility is still the protection of the club and the members, and that includes the assets of the club and everything else. So,
absolutely.
It may not come off that way. It may come off very, very friendly and everything else, but I certainly know that in the back of your mind, there's always that, but I am, at the end of the day, I'm here to protect the club. That's what matters.
You can learn a lot in conversation. And I'm not telling you nothing you already don't know. Yeah. But, conversation allows you to open up and see the inner courts of a person. Yep. It allows you to see what they're thinking. So, just in a way of, if something was to happen, if I don't know who I'm dealing with, if I don't know the staff, if I don't know the members, then it makes my job harder. But the more I know about everybody, the easier it is. So when we talk about protecting assets, we talk about protecting. And so to me, it goes beyond the club. It goes into your family. Not that I need to know anybody's family, deep, dark secrets, but I need to know who your family is. So, I've counted an honor when I get a chance to meet a member and I get a chance to meet his wife and his kids, because that lets me know, hey, it reminds me this is an important job. Yeah. I'm here to do a job. I'm here to protect, because that member needs to be able to come here and be safe at the club and be able to go home to their family.
Well, that's a wonderful segue, because one of the things, if we talk about what your daily life is like here, I got to tell our listeners that your daily life is never sitting down, because I see you everywhere at the club, Eric. But that's a perfect chance for our listeners that I know I'm speaking truth when I say this. Go up and talk to him. When you see Eric around the club, go up, say hi, introduce yourself. Eric wants to get to know you. That's the truth. So hopefully when you're out and about, our listeners, our members,
Please.
come up, talk to you, have a conversation.
Please do. Yes.
Find out a little bit more about you, for sure.
And I'd like to find out a little more about them.
Yeah. Well, basically, from a club safety initiative, what can members do? What can the members do to help you do your job? Is that a good way to look at it?
Yeah. I would say that if members will continue to make themselves available, if I need to get some type of information, of course, like you just mentioned, come up, introduce yourself, let me know your role within the club, how long you've been in the club. Even give like what they would want to see. Drop some information on me to say, hey, this is a concern. What can you do with it? We can definitely brainstorm about it. Just having that open line of communication. Communication is the key. If they're willing to communicate with me, I'm always open. I'm willing to communicate with whomever. But, I would just ask members to be patient in the way of visibly seeing change, because change is happening, even if it's behind the scene.
Right.
Change is definitely happening. But, just be proud, be excited about what's going on at the MAC. And then, remind me, hey, we want to protect the legacy, because I want to protect the legacy.
Right.
So, just communicate. Just let me know, what are some things that you value?
Sure.
What are some concerns you see? And also, if you see something that doesn't look right, say something.
Yeah.
Say
don't
something.
Put your head down. Just make sure we know about it.
Absolutely.
I love that too.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anything we didn't hit on? Anything you really want to talk about or get out there to the members?
Well, one of the things that I'm currently working on is improving our in-house communication.
Sure.
And what that looks like is I'm looking to upgrade our portable radio system.
Yeah.
And the reason being is because I know a lot of our staff, I have noticed that they rely on their cell phone, and they've sent an in-house text message trying to get a hold of someone. And I'm just afraid that will still be something that's fresh in their mind to get a hold of anybody in the event of an emergency.
Yeah.
And then, God forbid, but if we was to have an active shooter type situation.
Even medical emergency.
It's time is of the essence again. And so having that communication, everybody getting used to, especially my staff as security, housekeeping, everybody in the kitchen, the servers, and then just our management team being notified in the event of an emergency. If we need you, don't come out of your office or whatever. Having that radio is definitely going to be pinnacle in the way of making sure that we are responding to emergency events efficiently. So,
well, two big buildings. That's the other point. I mean, one's really tall, one's really spread out of the West Clubhouse, but two big spaces that, you always have somebody doing their job, not hiding, but someone doing their job or being in a remote area of the building, right?
And that's a good point, being in a remote area of the building. If I had a situation going on and I didn't want, say, you to leave your office,
right?
I don't have time to pull out my cell phone and let me look up your name. But, getting used to having that radio, being able to, whatever kind of communication that I need to send to every point, every access of the building, I believe is very important.
Yeah.
Even for our members, if we have someone in the building, if they're on the 5th floor here and they're in athletics, and we need to contact the desk to say, okay, don't let nobody leave the 5th floor.
Right.
Waiting for a text message and me looking at my phone, waiting for you to respond, to me is unacceptable. So that is something that I'm currently working on, is our in-house communication, making it better, improving it, making sure everybody's in the know.
Right.
So I don't want nobody to feel like, well, I didn't know. Or, even if, we have an inadvertent fire alarm go off. I want people to know that, okay, when I do an all clear, that it's clear that the communication is getting across. So, it's just working together.
Perfect. Look forward to that for sure.
As far as staff goes, being emergency ready preparedness is a big thing that we need to tighten up on. Yeah. Knowing the protocol, everybody.
Well, and that's a great thing too. We really didn't touch on that, but we need to, is the fact that it sort of shocked me, when we're interviewing or hiring a director of security, and then all of a sudden, part of the first things you start doing and talking about is what I would have called safety, not security, first aid and readiness and, where are the AEDs? I mean, you were going through all of that stuff. Yeah. So our members need to remember that too. You are not just the security thing, where is the building locked down or is this happening? It's all the way around, safety and well-being of our members.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And those things are important.
Oh, very, very.
Very important, because those are the day-to-day things.
Yep.
Locking a door, yes.
Yeah.
But knowing AED, where the AEDs are located, knowing if we got first aid kits available, where they're at, those things are very important. Because in the event of an emergency, time is of the essence. Yep. And so making sure that we as a staff, me as a director of security, and our members are up to date on the educational part of it is definitely something that I'm looking forward to tackling too.
Great. I love that. Anything else we should know about you?
Not that I can think of, Rodney.
Great dresser. Other than that,
I try. I told you set the bar high.
I love it. Always a cool new look every day. But Eric, we'll have to do this again. We'll have to have maybe a 1-year check-in and see what's progressed and where we've come. But again, I hope our listeners take this seriously, because I know Eric means it. You see him out walking around, you see him at the events, stop him, say hi, engage in a conversation. I know that's going to do everybody a lot of good.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Looking forward to hearing from everybody.
Wonderful. Well, thanks so much for being on the podcast today and speaking with us. We know all the members are excited, in fact, to see that and to see the other things that you implement for us. And thanks to our listeners for tuning in for another amazing episode of Missouri Athletic Club Connections. Stay connected with us through the events calendar, the MAC app, and social media, and we'll see you again soon. Thanks, Eric.
Thank you, Rodney.